I have 9 days off. 9 days where I don't have to be timed, watched, and accounted for every second of every day like I normally am from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. No emails asking why I've been idle for the last 30 seconds. No checking performance metrics to ensure that I've been working as fast and as diligent as my company wants me to. No holding your bladder till your next break, because if you get up even for a minute, they'll know. No holding back tears or being talked down to by clients and coworkers. Just peace. But don't get me wrong, I'm really appreciative of the job I have. In fact, out of all 43 employers I've worked for over the last 30 years, my current job is my favorite. And I'm pretty good at it. No, it doesn't use my nursing degree that's been dormant for over 12 years, but I still get to help people, and that's important. This year has been incredibly hard, and I took these 9 days off because I needed some time for myself. Time for myself to not think about to work, to do as I please, and to answer to no one other than my family and my dog. This week will be encumbered with missed hobbies, quiet time, and long walks that I desire to do during the week, but I'm just really too drained to do anything after logging off at 5 p.m. every day. Now, the atmosphere in the U.S. has been especially draining and uncertain. And to me, it's becoming evidently clear that I grew up in a very different U.S. than many people. And at 46 years old, I'm only just now starting to realize this. I was raised by two polar opposite parents, the hippie mom and a loving but often contradictory father who himself struggled to find balance between capitalism and humanity. I saw both sides of the coin. And at an early age, I knew exactly who I was and also who I didn't want to be. That is until capitalism lured me in and I started to believe all its promises. Aside from everything else, I was raised to believe, regardless of race, color, religion, sexual orientation, etc., everyone deserved to be loved and respected. Yeah, there were a few in my extended family that were bigoted, but we didn't really pay much attention to those small-minded individuals. Their voices were drowned out by our love for everyone. Did I happen to mention that I was raised Christian? Well, I was. On my mom's side, there were plenty of LGBTQ people. And even in the 70s and 80s in my family, it wasn't a big deal to be gay. It just was what it was. And maybe there weren't all the terms back then, but we definitely had non-binary folk, teddy bear gays, and Subaru driving lesbians in my family. And we all loved each other just the same. It wasn't frowned upon or criticized. It was normal. These people loved, hurt, ate, bled just like the rest of us. Money wasn't God or a thing to be worshipped. And having money or not having money didn't equate to receiving respect or not. If you were a good human, that's all that mattered. Having money, it was just a descriptor, an adjective. Perhaps I wore those rose-colored glasses for too long. I really believed for a long time that those bigoted voices in my family were few and far between. That the rest of the country, the rest of the world, was just accepting as my immediate family was. I felt that I was in the majority. I can see now that I was wrong. Living in this country today feels very foreign to me. Perhaps it was always this way, and I'm just now seeing it for the first time. It's exhausting and depressing, for sure. And if you want to talk about indoctrination, we can easily discuss the American dream. We were fed spoonfuls of lies that we could be anything we wanted, as long as we worked hard, and that it would bring us happiness. Go to school, they said. Get a job. Start a family. Get a house. This will make you happy. Well, I did all those things and I was miserable. Well, not being a wife and mother. I've always enjoyed that. That's not the aspect I'm talking about. But you know what? The rest of the rat race can fuck off. The irony of the American dream is it doesn't really exist. At least not in the form that they're selling it to us. You literally and physically cannot bust your ass for a corporation, while maintaining a good work-life balance. I discovered this when I was trying to obtain the American dream by working 3 jobs and sleeping 2 to 3 hours a night, and eventually developing ovarian cancer because I had a depleted immune system for burning the candle at 3 ends, so to speak. And even currently, in a job that I love, I log off most days feeling incredibly drained. I often find myself staring into space, dreaming about living off the land or living off the grid, van life, doing something completely different than this. Because I know that the rat race is deadly. We're just not built for the go, go, go. You can lie to yourself all you want. It is the type of stress that is killing us. I crave slowness and stillness and time to stop and smell the roses. I think it's something we all deserve, and I think it needs to be part of the definition of the new American dream. In my early 40s is when I really started to feel the angst. I felt suffocated by all the things that were clogging up my home, kind of like a clogged artery. I would stand in the middle of my living room and just feel so overwhelmed by all the stuff around me. And I just couldn't keep going on this way. I started reading, researching, and practicing Buddhism about 3 years ago. And about a year into that, I woke up one morning kind of spontaneously and just donated most of the clothes in my closet. Like, I left myself a small capsule wardrobe to get through, but it felt so freeing. I even stopped wearing makeup, and I just had this desire to be as plain as possible. I wanted to move beyond the physical, to move beyond my appearance and always worrying about it, and always worrying about what other people thought. I just wanted to live in this new space of this new acceptance that I found in myself, and not all dressed up as capitalism would have me be. I didn't buy anything other than food and daily necessities, medications, that sort of thing, for nearly a year. It felt amazing, actually. For a long time, I felt indoctrinated to look and feel the way society was telling me to. But when I was growing up, I didn't realize what was happening. I was being indoctrinated by capitalism. I had no clue. Growing up as a kid, as a teen, it was normal to want to go on big shopping sprees, spend lots of money, buy all the fantastic, sparkly, name brand things that you could ever imagine. Because somehow that felt better. It felt like you had made it. Because it was important to feel attractive and to be easy on the eye, to conform, to fit in, to be like everyone else. As a teenager, I totally butted heads with society about this. I even kind of leaned into the alternative ideology and, just anything I could do to not conform. But it was in this time that I found the love of being artsy and expressing myself with crazy clothing combinations or crazy hair colors or, piercings. Most things people do at that age. But somehow it just felt right to me. It felt natural. And it wasn't until I was diagnosed as neurodivergent a few years ago that I started to really understand the missteps in my younger life. And I started to understand who I really was underneath everything. I became a mom at a very young age, and I don't regret that whatsoever. I have amazing kids. But I kind of didn't know who I was. I kind of felt lost in a sea of, what's best for my kids? Do I conform and do all the things that society tells me to do? And that's kind of what I did. From my mid-20s to my mid-30s, I played the capitalism game pretty well. Until one day I woke up and I just didn't want to play the game anymore. How could I escape? I had the responsibility of taking care of children, my family, and a severely mentally ill husband. I felt stuck, not in the sense that I had to take care of my family, but in the sense that, America's not set up for hard times. If you or a family member become ill or you have burnout, tough. There aren't social programs to help you get through that. Most employers and many in society could care less what you're going through. You still have to show up. You still have to work through the burnout and the crying and the exhaustion and the stress and the breakdown of your body. because the capitalistic machine is 24/7 and it never sleeps. It was around that time that I fell into a hard and fast addiction. It was the only way that I could escape. It was also the only way I could function. And that worked until it didn't. I'm happily 12 years sober, so we don't have to worry about that. I am deconstructing so many aspects of my life now. Everything from religion to how I go about my day-to-day life. And it may seem silly, but YouTube has kind of saved me. It's kind of saved me from capitalism's clutches. I guess the sociologist in me, just loves and is fascinated by how other people live. But the neurodivergent in me is very narrow tunnel vision, so it's hard for me to imagine what other people live like. And so YouTube, and let me preface this by saying, obviously I know people live differently all across the world, but when you are in such an echo chamber, in such a fishbowl, and what you see around you is all you see, YouTube opens up an amazing world. You're like, wow, I don't have to do it this way. There are many other ways they could do it successfully. I mean, I see how people have escaped the rat race and are living in their version of paradise. Van life and living off the grid and just alternative lifestyles, tiny homes, things like that, I find fascinating and very interesting. And my heartstrings are kind of pulled in that direction. All of our modern conveniences have kind of left me feeling empty. Like I really desired to work with my own hands, to build and create something of my own. I kind of crave to work in the elements, to struggle a little bit, to hear nothing but the sound of crickets in the wind, rather than consumerism beckoning to buy more, spend more, work more so you have more money. And it's a hamster wheel. Is it all a distraction? I feel that we're puppets to billionaires. I mean, in order to keep us working and purchasing, they dangle that shiny carrot of the possibility of fame, fortune, and freedom. But nothing about this lifestyle is free. The costs are dire. You have to shed your humanity and become an empty shell of a human to thrive in it. Well, I'm saying no more. I am searching for ways to do things differently. I'm trying to find my voice, and I'm trying to find my people. I'm taking these next 9 days to try to wrap my head around the chaos, to kind of figure out where I go from here. Because I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this. And I have a feeling I'm not the only one.